Welcome to Lions Live 365. I'm your host, Michael Ayers, and today we are going to start a series. This series is going to be called Lions Mythbusters. Uh, I've been hearing a lot about this team for a couple of years, and at this point, it's time to attack these myths, and let's see if they're actually true. Let's see if they're actually right. Are we actually being honest in the media, things of that nature? One of the things that I'm going to definitely do is I'm going to back everything I'm saying with fact. Okay, it's not going to be feelings. It's going to be fact. All right. Uh, and part one is going to be the Lions are ignoring the pass rush. If you hear that come out of my mouth and you are on YouTube enough, you have an idea who you think said this. And that is Lions Syndicate. This man is one of the most consistent, one of the most professional YouTubers on there. He is really good with young or aspiring content creators. He really challenges people to create content. This is, in my opinion, is nothing but respect for him and his craft. I don't necessarily agree with him in a lot of instances, but at the end of the day, I love how consistent he is, how persistent he is, and at the end of the day, there's a level of professionalism that I aspire to have. Um, and that's all I got to say about Lion Syndicate. This isn't a takedown in any way, shape, or form. I want that to be very clear. This is not a takedown. I'm not one of these dudes. Oh, he doesn't know ball. I'm not one of these clowns that does that. But at the end of the day, let's have some discourse. Let's talk about it. All right, is Brad Holmes ignoring the pass rush? All right, so we're gonna start off. Brad Holmes is hired. Dan Campbell is hired a day later. And let's see what's going on. Jared Goff is traded. A bunch of picks are exchanged. Things of that nature. We finally get to the draft. The first offseason, they go fully into the trenches. They get Penei Sewell for our offensive tackle. We get Levi Onwuzurike with his bad back self. Spine made of Jenga blocks. We got Aleem McNeil, our starting defensive tackle. I think he has a tremendous amount of potential, but at the end of the day, he's hurt right now. And then, you see the rest. This is one of his better drafts. I forgot to put Iffy on here, but essentially you can see right here, right now, that Brad Holmes started in the trenches and he drafted 2 defensive linemen his first draft. It doesn't seem like he's ignoring the pass rush, right? We got the only other thing that he could have done is he could have drafted Michael Parsons instead of Penei Sewell, and I'm gonna stick with Penei. I'm sorry, I don't care how you feel about it. I'm sticking with Penei. I think Mike is a talent, but Penei is everything that we say we want players to be on this team, and I love him. Right? Let's fast forward. Maybe the next draft he ignores the pass rush. Right? Let's see what happens. Oh, that's a negative. He picks 3 defensive ends. He picks Aiden Hutchinson, Josh Pascal, and James Houston. Aiden Hutchinson is 6'6", 265 pounds, right? And in this particular scheme that we run, he's not considered the big edge. We run this thing where it's like, hey, it's 4-3, 4-2-5. We'll do all of those different defenses. We'll get real freaky with the schemes and all of that. But the big edge is usually between 275 to 299 pounds. That's what Josh Pascal's role is in our not in our offense, in our defense. And then we have specialists that come in on third down. We try to kick the big edge inside, and we bring the specialists in. And that's when we got James Houston, right? So at this point, we are 2 drafts in. We are 5 D linemen deep, right? Doesn't seem like he's ignoring the pass rush, right? Let's go to the next draft. After picking 5 defensive linemen, right? He goes into the next draft, and this is the first draft that you can literally say he passed up on a really good pass rush talent. We could have got Kobe Turner in the later rounds instead of the 4 complete bums that we picked. Broderick Martin is a defensive lineman, so we are at 6 defensive linemen in the first 3 drafts. Just want to keep count on that. But this draft, he still hit a crazy amount of players in this draft. Jalen Carter was a character thing. Kobe Turner was a little undersized, and we're going to talk about that at the tail end of this because I think I understand where Lions Syndicate is coming from, but I'll explain that later. But we are, factually, 6D linemen deep, right? 6D linemen deep. This is still this 2023 draft is a really good draft for him. And this is when we made this draft and made a nice deep run. So let's move on to the next draft. This is the draft that irritated the hell out of me, right? When people talk about this draft and they be like, "Oh, Brad Holmes loves his DBs. He loves his DBs." Bro, they're what's available. You want us to turn down talent and just pick what? What? Look, these are the two people that we could have drafted. People that combined for 2 sacks. When every time somebody says, "Hey, oh, he doesn't care about the pass rush," I challenge them. Who else could we have picked? And in that draft, we were not. I'm sorry, bro. Jared Verse was not around at our pick. Latu was not around at our pick. We had some Josh Pascal clones available, and they said no. We're going to focus on. This is literally after an NFC Championship game. I just want you to visualize a man allowing another man to catch a 50-yard pass off of his face mask. This is literally right after that. If I was drafting, that'd have been the person that I was thinking about, just Kendall Vildor. Anything I can do to make sure he never sees the field again, I'ma do it, right? And that's the facts. Now, when people say, "Oh, we shouldn't have picked Ennis," I went through the draft. I didn't really see too much that we could have picked. This draft to me is the whole draft is a little blah. And if you have a problem or you don't believe in what I'm saying, I challenge you to pull up the 2024 NFL draft. Look it up, right? We could have picked Cooper DeJean instead of Terrion Arnold, but Cooper DeJean is an outside corner. I don't know what to tell y'all. And Cooper DeJean isn't a pass rusher, so I thought we was all about pass rushers. Screw the DBs. Screw the fact that we run man coverage at a ridiculous rate. In that point in time, I'm pretty sure, some DBs would be very good if we run man half the time to half. So, it's all good. We're going to move on. I ain't going to hold on too long. But I just want to point out that Mekhi Wingo is a D lineman. We are what is that, 6 or 7? 6 or 7. We doing good as far as pass rush, right? I think we're doing good. I think we 7, we got 3 drafts in. We got 7 D linemen, right? Let's move on to the next one. Did he forget about pass rushers in 2020, 2025? Absolutely not. First person he picks is Tyleik Williams. The 6th round pick, Ahmed Hassanin, has a ton of potential. Y'all see it the same way I do. But at the end of the day, we're going to talk about something that y'all need to understand. A lot of people wanted a bunch of dudes that don't fit our scheme in this particular draft. I hear a lot of Donovan Izarakus. He's like 250 pounds. How he gonna be the big edge? He 250. That's not how our scheme works. If you want to change the scheme, you gotta talk to the coach. We talking about Brad Holmes. We're not talking about the coach. At the end of the day, it doesn't make sense to draft people that in your scheme is going to be a specialist with your first pick in the draft. But you know who we really need though? We need a defensive tackle that can fill in for Arlene McNeil and eventually replace DJ Reader, because ain't no way we gonna pay that man at the end of this season. So if you think about it, Tyleik, we get Tyleik. Tate Ratledge. Oh, why didn't we draft him in the second? We could have drafted somebody in the second. I'm sorry. Number 2 defensive end is not bigger than our center or guard of the future when Frank Ragnow is retiring. And then once you get into the middle rounds, a lot of GMs looked at that pool of players like they're on the same level. You know what I'm saying? it was a lot of depth in this draft, but it wasn't a lot of elite stuff. It's not a lot of people that are big, athletic, and productive. You had to pick between. So, like, in my opinion, when I look at how Brad Holmes attacked this draft, he literally was just looking at it like, I feel like Ahmed is in the same bucket as some of these third and fourth rounders. So he went with Ahmed Hassani, and that dude is showing some real juice, right? So if you think about it, Brad Holmes has literally averaged 2 D linemen each draft. Whether he hits or not is not a indication of, oh, he's ignoring it. It's just he's not picking those quick, twitchy players that y'all want. That's what it is. We're gonna break that down, and I'm gonna explain to you why he's not picking these quick, twitchy players that you like, that got all the pass rush moves and the amazing first step. And this is the real reality, y'all. Y'all focused on the wrong person. Y'all got a problem with Dan Campbell. It's the scheme. If at the end of the day, on first and second down, you're gonna deploy a big edge, that means and that big edge is not Aiden Hutchinson, mind you, who's 6'7", 6'6", 6'5", something. He's tall and 260, 270, right? The big edge is a 280-pound man. He's between 275, 280, and 300 pounds. That's not the type of pass rush. That's not Von Miller's. That's not Von Miller's build. That's not the Demarcus Ware build. This is literally the build that they are out here looking for. They are looking. If you want to think about it like Cam Jordan, huge dude. Myles Garrett, huge dude. Trey Hendrickson is on the smaller side of what they're looking for, right? When you look at this, Josh Pascal is almost 280. Keith Cooper is 280. Mekhi Wingo, he had some time at defensive end on first and second down. We're not adding twitchy players in at that big edge position. So if you are a GM, you're not going to invest a first round pick, a second round high draft capital in quick twitchy players that produce sacks. So I feel like, as far as this is concerned, this myth is busted. He's not ignoring the pass rush. He's just not getting the players y'all want. The reality of the situation is, on first and second down, they are focused mainly on stopping the run, and that first and second down is reason why we lead the league, or we're not lead the league. We're usually top 5 in run defense because it's such a priority. But unless Ahmed or Mekhi really pops, I'm just not sure if we're going to have that pass rush that y'all looking for. And what I mean by that is, if we want the sack production y'all are looking for, we got to change the scheme. And we're looking at the wrong we're looking at the wrong person. We need to start looking at your beloved Dan Campbell. Nobody wants to talk about that, though. Nobody wants to talk about the beloved Dan Campbell. I love Dan. I'm all the way on board with everything that's going on with the organization right now. But when people make these arguments, I get a little irritated, because it's like, bro, why y'all talking about Brad? This ain't got nothing to do with Brad. Got everything to do with y'all beloved Dan Campbell. And then what we're also going to do, because I talked mostly about the draft. Y'all. What we're also going to do in part 2, 3, 4, 5, we're going to talk about some of the other ones. I think number 2, the second part of this series, is most likely going to be Brad Holmes loves injured players, or Brad Holmes loves DBs, or I think that's probably going to be it. It's probably going to be Brad Holmes loves injured players, or Brad Holmes loves DBs. And that's going to be the next myth that we're going to tackle in this series. I appreciate y'all tuning in. And whether it's game day, draft day, or any day in between, it's Lions Live 365. Please like and subscribe. Peace out.